takes a swing and pauses back their jaw. Thought we were lost night.
Welcome to AP US History. I am Mr. Gillette. This is a intro to the website. Of course, this is the Google site. You could locate the Google site by going to Bernie ISD website, the Champion High School page. And once you get to the Champion High School page, simply go to faculty, go to the tab that says faculty, find my name, click it, and you will see a link to this page. So basically the way APUSH is set up, it is one of kind of what we call a flipped classroom. Flipped classroom means is that, basically 80% of what we do, the learning, is done at home. And when we come to class time is used for discussion. It is a time where we can check for understanding, where I get to check for understanding. It's also a time, class time is also available for activities and skill development and other important things. So it's going to be vital this year that, unlike other classes have a Google Classroom. I don't do a Google Classroom. I really try to simulate everything that I do after, basically what you would find in a real college class. Okay, so when you go to college, you're going to find that your professors do not have a Google Classroom, that you are going to have to access websites in order. Blackboard. Blackboard is also a very important app used by college professors to download readings, to get your assignments, to take online quizzes and exams. This is the best I can do. So essentially, let me go over go over this website with you, point out a few things so that you will have no problem accessing the resources, downloading the resources, and where you're able to really dive into the content and the material. So it's really basic. The front page is nothing but just, I think it's important to understand as well, before I get into this, that a lot of other AP classes, other APUSH classes from around the country will access my website for materials. So I do try to keep it, it is primarily for students at Champion High School, Bernie High School, but also other high schools around the country. So I think that's an important disclaimer. So basically, this is the front page. On the left-hand side, you've got a number of tabs. And one of the most important tabs that you're going to locate is the class calendar. Okay, so the class calendar is tied to my Google Calendar. And so it's not up and running for the fall of 2020 yet. But this is where you're going to go to access important, due dates. What are we doing on a given day? What is it that we're doing on a given day? There you go. You'll have the month view, but you'll have it up here. Let me go back to pre-COVID, and let's say February. Sounds good. Okay. There we go. Yes. So let's go back. So essentially, this is what it looks like, on an A and B day schedule. You will see, for example, we have a debate, Philippine, annexation. I'll list quizzes. Essentially, it's a blueprint as to what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. It is your responsibility to stay up with the calendar. I am not always going to be able to remind you when important due dates are due, what readings are due, when certain assignments are due. That is, you have to, what AP means two things. One, rigor. That means you're going to be challenged. And number two, AP is all about personal responsibility. You are going to have to assume total personal responsibility for how well you do. And honestly, you have to accept accountability and consequences for what you don't do. So this is a very important link. You want to make sure that, I try to tell students all the time is always look 2 weeks ahead. Always look 2 weeks ahead. Okay. So if it's February 4th, you want to scan 2 weeks ahead, and that, for example, in 2 weeks, the second annotations are due from the jungle, for example. And that's an assignment that takes some time to complete. So always look 2 weeks ahead. And again, really fall in love with your calendar. It's your responsibility to keep up with it. So we go to APUSH class materials. This is also a very important link that you'll need to access. It does have a drop-down menu. And so this is the actual home page where you will find a plethora of resources. Obviously, the AP contract, this is something you are going to have to download and have you and your parents sign. And that's where you'll find it. But I recommend and I encourage and urge all of my students to investigate, browse, and just see the different types of links that we have, resources that we have that might aid you in certain different times of the class. Of course, you got our thematic learning objectives. The APUSH is divided into 7 thematic themes, 7 themes. So we, it's we analyze the themes here. So if you want to break down a theme, or if you want to expose yourself to, what does it mean by work exchange and technology, then you could click the link there and get everything you need about it. Historical maps are all here. But let's look over here on the left-hand side. You've got, of course, over 60% of the AP test is writing, whether it's short answers or long essays or document-based questions. This link right here is going to help you. The AP writing, and again, I have included for you a plethora of writing materials, aids. This is where you're going to find your writing rubrics. Of course, all your essays are graded on a rubric provided by the College Board. And so it goes into the different skills that the writing is tested. There's 4 basic skills that you're going to find in your writing. You're going to have causation essays, continuity and change over time essays, comparison essays. Periodization is from the pre-design, but nonetheless, these first 3 are fairly important. But I've got, like I said, I got PowerPoints, I've got rubrics, many different rubrics, sample DBQs, how to write a DBQ, how to write an LEQ, videos that will help you with various aspects of writing the essay. So during various times this year, you may need to access this page. Now, throughout throughout APUSH, the year, we do study culture. Culture is a very important component of American history. Art is a reflection of that culture. So we do spend time analyzing art. And so when we do, this is where you're going to go to find important presentations, PowerPoints, various important resources related to art. That's a funny little representation of Grant Wood's American Gothic. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so you have to forgive me. So again, you're going to go here to, when we address art in the class, then this is really where you're going to go to find the materials that will be assigned for you to analyze. APUSH review materials, this is going to be basically for your AP exam. When we get into March, we begin the process of reviewing for the AP exam. So there's so many different references, materials, sources you can use here to help in the review process. Let's see, thinking skills, time period. Let me come down here. Of course, this year we are not reading Founding Brothers. The years that we do, that will include information about our Founding Brothers project. History, note card terms. This is big. All right, so note cards have been a proven aid, a very effective aid for students. APUSH is a course which requires students to learn a lot of content, a tremendous amount of content. Note cards or flashcards, however you want to say it, you're going to create these note cards. You're going to take the important vocabulary, important terms, people, events, and you're going to make flashcards out of them. And by the end of the school year, you will have made I think it's approximately 800 of these note cards. We do them in installments. So if you look at the first 9 weeks here, you got it broken down by 9 weeks. So the first 9 weeks, obviously, it's broken down by era. So pre-Columbian and colonial America. These are the important terms, people, events of the period, okay? And then, of course, you can see each of our individual units has important vocabulary. And, of course, these flashcards are used to essentially drill and kill, to learn the important content for each era that we study. If you look down here at the very bottom, you've got basic directions. This year we are going to be using white note cards. 2020, 2021 school year, we will use white note cards. And in 2021, 2022, we will use colored note cards. And we just alternate. Every other year, we change up what color we use. So make sure you follow these directions, and that would be great. That'd be great. So again, I'm not going to go through Ultimate Guide to the Presidents. This is a great little link showing political ads of the television age. So when we get to the 20th century and the television age, that's going to be a really good resource for us to use. My syllabus is here. Obviously, in college, when you go to college, your professor is going to pass out a syllabus to the class, and the professor is going to, he's not going to tell you to read it, and he's not going to tell, but he is going to, or she is going to assume that you've read the syllabus. So let me punch up the syllabus real quick. It hasn't been adapted for the 2020-2021 school year. But in it, it basically just gives an outline. This is a syllabus that I've actually have sent to the College Board. The College Board has approved it, and it really, again, and this is fairly typical for any college level course. It's going to essentially give you the nuts and bolts, basic description of the class. It explains what type of assignments are going to be given, student expectations, class rules. So it's your responsibility to read through this. So So that is basically the important stuff out of the APUSH class materials. On the what we have remaining is, and I'm just going to, I'll just select one, but this is from chronological order, starting at pre-Columbian all the way to the 1990s and beyond. Okay, you have got, there it is, 1990s and beyond. This is all, every era of study. These are all our different units that we will study throughout the year. So if I, for example, let's pull up the 1980s. I'm going to show you, in essence, what you should look for, how basically each of these pages for each of these eras is structured, okay? Obviously, so obviously I'm going to give time for this to download. So what you're going to find is I'm going to attach videos. I will attach that you'll be required to watch. You will also, this is where you're going to find all of your documents that you will have to read. And this thing is really slow today. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's go to our documents. So essentially, the first thing you're going to do when we start a new unit, you're going to come all the way down here, and it's going to give you, under discussion questions, you're going to click that, and it's going to give you essentially the discussion questions, key concept questions, questions that you have to be able to answer after completing a unit. Okay, it will also include which documents you are to read. Okay, so if you come up here, you will see that I've attached documents, primary, secondary documents from the 1980s. And are you going to have to read all of these documents? The answer is no. But I will essentially select a handful of them. I will assign them to you, and it's expected that you read those documents. In addition, when you come down here and you download, your, where is it, discussion questions, it will also identify where in the textbook you need to spend attention. So textbook reading is any history class is built around reading. Okay, so make sure you just know that along with textbook reading, we have videos we'll watch. We'll have outside readings, primary documents that you see here, secondary documents, and also will include PowerPoints. Okay, important PowerPoints. And so note that where we get our information for each unit comes from many different places. But you're going to find, with the exception of your textbook, all the resources necessary to master the discussion questions, key concept questions, are located right here on this website. Now, if you were to go to each of these units, each of these units or each of these pages are essentially set up the same way. One thing I do want you to do as an APUSH student this year, let's go to Washington Adams here. I do want you to use these pages. I want you to use these resources. I want you to explore them. So again, here's your outside readings. Are you going to have to read them all? No. But you're going to find, I just want you to investigate. I want you to explore. I want you to be able to go in here and not just look for, when we have, not just look for what's assigned, but see what else is here. There's a lot of neat little resources. When we do have in-class debates, there is a separate section for debate materials. Again, here's your PowerPoint presentations, important videos and websites that are connected to the unit. Here's your unit discussion questions. ID questions are usually done. These are like warm-up questions that we do before class. And I'll include other miscellaneous resources down at the bottom. Okay, so that's it. That's how you use the website. You have to take ownership of your learning. Remember what AP means. AP means rigor. It means you're going to be held to the highest standard. Rigor doesn't mean more homework. Rigor doesn't mean anything but the expectations are very high. The level of critical thinking, very high. But more importantly, to me, a great AP student is someone who is organized, who is a student that holds themselves accountable. This website has been put together for you to be able to accomplish really both of those goals. So anyway, that's basically what I wanted to do, is just give you an overview of the website. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at michael.gillette@bernieisd.net. You can make sure you do that. And that being said, welcome to APUSH. It's going to be a great year, and have a great day.